Hello there, everyone. This is Dr. Gwen from the Dr. Gwen International Inc. and host of the iTunes show, the Dr. Gwen Podcast Show. Today, we're going to be talking about personal characteristics that impact business success. A lot of times, entrepreneurs have a feeling or a thought that their bodies themselves, are completely separate and completely independent of their business. And so they tend to run their lives into these little compartments: home life, family life, love life right here, business life right here, spirituality right here. And what that does is it creates a lot of stress on your system, because you're being all these different things in all these different places. The whole idea is to understand that you are one compacted being, and that everything you do, even individually as an individual, will impact everywhere else in your life, including your business. Now, I know you've heard the conversation about everything is energy. And the way I like to simplify that so that it makes sense for us as we work as business owners, as entrepreneurs in our business, is simply this. Albert Einstein, many years ago, created this formula E equals mc squared, and that E is energy equals m, which is mass, and the vibration of light squared. Now, what that formula amounts to is that everything is energy. When we're talking about energy, what we're actually talking about is vibration and resonance. And just to keep this really simple, because I know there are a lot of law of attraction folks out there, and I think that what the messages that are proposing are good, they're okay, but many people don't quite understand how it impacts their life individually, and especially if they've been trying for years to attract stuff and to say affirmations and everything else. But there are certain things that impact your business success, and there's one particular thing that I would like to talk about today, and that relates to the whole principle of vibration and resonance. See, with energy, everything that is energy vibrates. Your energy, I am energy. There's energy in the air. A bottle, my water bottle, is energy. My balloon is energy. Everything is energy. Get the picture? And so with energy, when they look through a microscope at the atoms, what they see are vibrating elements and vibrating light factors, right? And so the conclusion is that everything that is vibrating, everything is energy, and everything vibrates. Now, what does the law of resonance have to do with it? See, now this is the most important thing that I think that you need to come to grips with. This is what a lot of people miss. And this is it. Because we talk about vibration, we talk about frequencies. When I had my physics class and my electricity class, we talked about frequencies and we talked about vibration, but for some reason we don't associate those things with us. Our thoughts are also energy. Therefore, they have a vibration and they have a frequency. Now, the frequency of something is how fast it is vacillating, right? And things that have similar frequencies attract things within those frequencies. This is why you can use your car remote, press that button, it sends a frequency out to the lock that is tuned to that frequency, and it unlocks your car. Now, it's the same thing with your thoughts you may not have thought. That when you're thinking things, everything has a resonance. Everything has a vibration. Some are low vibration, some are high vibration. And things that relate to love and wonderful, great thoughts, happiness, are high vibration things. Things that relate to sadness, anger, fear, are low vibration things. Now, some things when you have conversations in your business will generate feelings of whether it's happy thoughts or sad thoughts. And a lot of times you have control over exactly how that is going to look for you. So let's just give you a scenario. First, let's start in your personal life as an example. So let's say you're doing business. It's important to keep in mind that every interaction that you have, whether it is with your clients or customers or fellow business owners that you're exchanging ideas with, every interaction is important, and every interaction is going to leave you with a certain feeling, whether you feel good about it or whether you feel not so good about it. The same thing with your family members. Remember, I said we're not compartmentalized. You have this energy that is exuding outside of you that goes everywhere you go in your business, and you can't turn it off from one thing to the other. So it is also important that when you are interacting in family, that you pay attention to how your interactions are causing you to feel, since you know that that feeling, that vibration is going to start attracting more of those things in your life. If you want your business to succeed, then the things you want to attract are those things that are feeling good for you. So how does this translate? When you are interacting at home, your interpretation of any interaction or any event is vital to how you're going to feel. Similarly with your clients. If someone you are interacting with and suddenly you are in this place that you don't know very well, they know it very well, and you start walking in a certain direction, and that person knows that that direction is not the direction you want to head to, because there is a pit that when you put your foot on that area, you're going down. And so they yell very loudly at you and say, get away from there. You know, you don't know why that happened. They yelled. That is the fact, right? Immediately you may make that mean something. You put an interpretation on it. Well, they must hate you, or they are mean, when in fact they were having your best interests at heart, simply to protect you from where you were going to put your feet next, which would have caused a complete disaster for you. So let's bring this to business now. Sometimes you may have clients, and those clients may be insisting on having certain things a certain way, and they may be just relentless at doing this. And you may interpret this interaction to mean that this client is very difficult, they're not easy to work with, they're a pain in the butt, and all of that, right? When in fact, what may be heading on or going on in that client's mind is a previous interaction they may have had with someone else that was similar, that brought them to the deepest and lowest spot of devastation and pain in their lives, and they're so desperately wanting to get away from it, not seriously wanting to make your life difficult, but really truly seriously wanting to get away from that experience again. And so you may interpret that as the client being a pain in the butt. Now notice, your interpretation of those events affect the way you feel. In fact, there are studies that show that many times when you have low self-esteem, you tend to interpret interactions more often negatively than not. You put a bad spin on the whole situation when in fact that spin never was intended to happen. And the thing is, we're humans, and we're going to make interpretations of events. We do. In fact, when you go to school, they kind of teach you to do that, right? You're to make inferences, like what do you think the author had in mind? What do you think was going to happen next? And you are to predict these instances. But I think in those live situations, it doesn't quite work that smoothly. You are going to make interpretations, and you've got to guard yourself to make certain that the interpretations you are making are going to be empowering to you, so that you can feel good, and so that the energy you're bringing forward will impact your business success. If you are continuously feeling less than, not worthy, if your self-esteem is low, then you are not going to be in a place ready to attract business on a high successful level. You simply will not be. And understanding that principle and being able to guard your own way of interpreting how people are coming to you with what they're saying is key. It's a key factor. It is a huge role. So then, what is the point of our conversation? It is this: your number one responsibility is to be able to distinguish the difference between fact and interpretation. The interpretation is what I call the stories. Fact and the interpretation. So if we looked at the first example that I gave you about this person yelling at you when you were about to step on a mine, so to speak, you interpret it to mean that they were mean, and that they hate you, or they don't have your best interests at heart, or you're not good enough. Why is everybody yelling at me? Or whatever the story is you created. When in fact, what happened was the person yelled at you. They raised their voice and spoke loudly at you when you were moving in a certain direction. So what then do? You get to the bottom of it. You want to find out what was going on in the person's mind, why they behaved the way they did. Because that's truthfully the only way that you're going to really get to the bottom of the truth. You're never going to get there by thinking you know how it is. And sometimes the situation does look like it's factual, like what you are saying, your interpretation is actually factual, but that's when you start messing up your relationships, and that's when you start dwarfing your energy, and that's when you start impacting the successes you can get in your life and your business in a positive direction that you want it to be. You start impacting that so that it doesn't end up the way you want it to be. And let's look at the client situation. Now, the client is speaking, they're wanting a certain way, they're repeating their statements that they want that certain way. They may be raising their arm, they may be looking away, they may be looking directly at you. Those are all things that you can observe. That's what a fact is. A fact is something you can observe. If you imagine there's a glass wall and you're looking at someone through the glass wall and you cannot hear what they are saying, you are actually seeing what they are doing. You describe the actions of what you see. And then if you imagine that now there's a little opening that comes through that glass wall, and now voices come through and you can now hear what they're saying, you speak exactly what they're saying. It may be in a louder voice. The voice may be elevated. And if you even want to describe it as animated, that's an interpretation. Animated. But the person was speaking in a loud voice. And that's it. Now, getting to the bottom of this will definitely help your relationships. I can tell you, even from a personal level, there was a point in my relationship at home where I felt like conversations were being misinterpreted. Like some things would be said and another interpretation would be put on it. And then I would be wondering, how did you get to that? I didn't say that. This is what I said. See? So you've got to be able to guard yourself against those stories, because those stories generate inevitably feelings of satisfaction and gratitude and gratification, or feelings of being not so satisfied, anger, sadness, pain, low self-esteem, etc. And so I want you going forward to make sure that every conversation you're having today or the next minute going forward, whether it is with a client or a customer or someone at home, that you now start listening from that perspective of, what are they saying? You're listening so you can understand what they're saying, so you can get in their emotions to feel and come from their perspective. You're listening with a clear and open mind instead of from the other perspective where it's judgmental, just waiting to interpret what they're saying so you can pounce. That is not the way you want to have those conversations. That is going to empower your business and your life so that you can continue to have successful transactions in your business and in your life. So I hope that this one revelation of that personal characteristic that will definitely impact your life and your business success, you have tuned into that, and you will make a purposeful intent that going forward, you're going to be mindful of what others are saying, and especially what stories you make of it, and work very diligently to diminish the story and get to the facts. And once the facts are sorted, get to interacting with the person even further to find out the feeling they had behind the facts that were being presented to you. Hopefully that has been very powerful for you, my friend. I know that has been impactful. That's for me in my life, for me in my business, the way I interact with people. And I hope that as you put that in practice, that you will begin to come to that conclusion also for yourself. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. This is Dr. Gwen, empowering lives to live purposefully and passionately, and skyrocketing your business success from the inside out.